Hi there and welcome to the Labyrinth today. Thanks for joining me. It's been a big week, but also a slow week and an interesting week for me. How's it been for you? I'm interested to hear. First of all, I'd like to actually say thank you to the returning subscribers and to the new subscribers. And I appreciate you being part of my journey. Today's video is going to be a quick one. I've been focused on doing some new tasks, but you will have noticed some changes. But before we go there, let's have a look at what's been happening in my front garden. I think I'm going to keep including the animal symbolism or animal medicine in these videos as I go along, referring to the native wildlife that I either see in the garden or that I feel affiliated over the period of my life. This week, I know we talked about the beautiful blue superb fairy wren last week because I'm passionate about them and I just love them. But I found this video today of him doing a bit of a flutter, so hopefully the video works so that you can see what he looks like and why he just, oh my goodness, he speaks to my heart. But at the same time, my visitors this week have included a family of the birds on the right that have flown into the garden. Now, we call them here in Australia a willy wagtail. They're quite an interesting little bird. They're quite cheeky. They're very social. They're very chattering. They have a really, I think, pretty song. I did my research before I actually put this slide together because I'm aware that for the Indigenous folk, they have a different meaning because I work with an Aboriginal lady, a Noongar, and she gave me the animal medicine that applies to the Djitta Djitta. Oh, I forgot to say. Okay, so we call them, you may as well say white Australian people or non-Indigenous folk call the willy wagtail the willy wagtail. Indigenous people have a variety of different names, and the Noongar people in Western Australia, they call him the Djitta Djitta. Spelt with a DJ, by the way. Anyway, she was the one that told me the medicine particularly associated with this little fella. And while they are social, while they are family oriented, while they do appear in clusters, if you like, and they do have a beautiful song, they have a habit of flying into a garden quite regularly or flying up to a person. And what makes them likeable is that they kind of scream at you. It's a real chitter chitter, you know. It's like they're really talking to you. And so what the Indigenous people believe is that they're messengers and that they can speak to the dead and they will convey back to the deceased, if you like, any information where a person might be speaking badly about them. But from the Noongar perspective, which, as I say, is the West Australian group, mob, where other people overseas might call groups of people clans. If they're Indigenous folk, they might be clans, and they might be referred to as tribes. Here in Western Australia, or Australia actually, they tend to call them mobs. So the Noongar mob, according to this lady, they believe that he's a gossip, actually, and that when he flies in and he squawks at you, that we should be paying attention to the direction of where he's flown in from. So, for example, we live in the West. If he's flown in from the East, that means that somebody from the East is talking about you and not necessarily in a nice way, or that they're bringing bad news. It could be the death of somebody or something that's going to actually be not necessarily pleasant. So everybody, what I did see when I was doing the research is it depends on the mob of people and where they're placed in Australia and how they interpret the medicine and messages of the Djitta Djitta. I call him a Djitta Djitta as well. And anyway, one of the funny stories I've got with the little Djitta Djitta is they just are so brazen, which is what makes them so beautiful. My brother had a family of them living in his yard, and he's actually got a photo of when he was out mowing the lawn. He had to stop and do something with the lawnmower. And while he was doing it, this little Djitta Djitta, because it was spring, kept flying down and landing on his head and trying to pluck hairs from his head so that it could build a nest. And it was very insistent and persistent, and it was hanging around long enough that my brother's wife was able to take a photograph of him with the bird on his head. And the only reason that I'm not showing that is obviously to protect his privacy, but you do see these little birds. They're so cheeky. I've got a stray cat that has decided to reside here, and these little birds, they're so quick and fast. They're very tiny, and they flutter, and they actually come by, and it's like tormenting the cats. It's beautiful to watch. It's quite amusing. So I would associate them actually with joy as well as these other messages. The new content is going up consistently, and I realise that if you subscribe to the channel, you're going to get notified fairly regularly. So it's up to you if you want to click that bell to be notified of when new content is loaded. The reason why I load so much is because I've got a lot of information to actually share with people by way of different things, whether it's crystals. I used to sell them. I've worked with crystals for years, things like that. And so the only way I can actually get this content out to you for your benefit and information is actually to keep uploading on a regular basis. So this is why you see so much go up. So this week, we have a couple of new things that have been loaded, or new information. So what was loaded this week was actually just one of the briefer and final versions of this clinical type information around emotions and managing emotions and reviewing thinking. And I don't know about you, I'm really glad to say goodbye to it, because it's not exactly the fun part. It's more about me adhering to my responsibilities as a human being, as a teacher, and as a social worker. So this one's now up. It's finished. We're going on to new stuff. Zadkiel's video has been loaded, and there's some technique and strategy on there, and I actually do an example on that one with how to use what is called the silver violet flame, and I give you a little bit more information about that. That, once again, if you don't believe in angels, it's not a problem. You might receive benefit from it. There's still healing strategy in there in regard to healing with colour. But from here on in, I'm going to be looking at specific angels, not the archangels. We've completed this now, and I will be loading a short in the next couple of days, maybe 3 days. Just looking at my time management, probably about 3 days' time, I will upload a short for Archangel Zadkiel. Reminding people, of course, about the chakra power tool, if you like. I do recognise, by the way, I played it again the other day, that the music, they are, I think, binaural beats or whatever, and they're not necessarily something that everybody likes, but they certainly do hold healing power, if you like, with the tones, which is one of the reasons why I use it. But if you're not used to that kind of music, it can be a bit uncomfortable. So just my recommendation would be just to mute it and play your own music independently while you actually do the affirmations and healing with colour. If you've got some chakra toning music, all the better. Numerology content is ongoing, of course. It gets loaded every Monday. We're still working through the numbers on the birth chart, and once we've completed that, then I'll start reviewing what the arrows on the birth chart mean, and I'll go into a more full description for that. Also, don't forget that I do put up the monthly forecast, and the monthly forecast for April is going to go up on, I think I've scheduled it for March the 30th. So as I said before, I've finished the Archangel content, and from here on I'm going to try and aim for at least a weekly video on an angel related to the hierarchy chart that I've put up, and you can see that video by going and look at the angels playlist. I'm going to try and put one up a week, but that may be fortnightly. And the thing is, going forward, the videos are not going to be as long as the ones for the archangels, and this is because the archangels have such a comprehensive role that to do them justice, you need to take, or I need to spend a little bit longer on each video. So anyway, that's the plan going forward. I haven't actually made an art reel for this week, and that's because I haven't been doing a lot of art, but these are the latest artworks that I've put up. As you can see, we've made the one that goes on the front of the Colour Therapy or the Power of Colour playlist, and then I'm looking at this lady with the violet cloak. Yeah, so basically that's it. We're still doing quotes for the time being. They're still ready and loaded to go, but as I do more artwork, then I'll just release it as and when I've got something to show you. So, as always, yes, there is some content that's coming soon, but as you're all aware, I don't like to reveal it too early in the piece. I like to actually let you know once it's close to the time frame, and we are at that point for the next content that is going to be replacing the Friday content. So, as always, yes, there is some content that's coming soon, but as you're all aware, I don't like to reveal it too early in the piece. I like to actually let you know once it's close to the time frame, and we are at that point for the next content that is going to be replacing the so, the new content that we have coming up this week is actually an introduction to the power of colour, and that video has been scheduled for Tuesday. And I'm going to be loading the content of this series on a Tuesday and Friday going forward. And this is because there's a lot of content to cover. And it's going to be a lot more fun for me. It's something that I really, really enjoy, and I hope you will enjoy it and benefit from it as well. So, my friends, that is it for today. I do hope that you've had a wonderful week. I hope that the content that's going to be loaded in the near future is going to be content that you enjoy. I'm going to really enjoy sharing with you the colour content. Of course, as usual, I start with the evidence-based stuff, or the stuff that proves or disproves theories or beliefs or whatever. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it. Leave a comment. Don't forget, if you want to be notified, click the bell. If not, if you like the channel and you want to support me, please do subscribe to the channel, because it's very much appreciated. It shows me that people are interested in my content. Anyway, for now, my friends, I'm going to love you, leave you, and say have a glorious week. Take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.